Satsang-24. Atoms and subatomic particles are one. 29th November, 1934. Morning Satsang. Atoms and subatomic particles are one. The particles that make up the atoms of water, fire, and air are called subatomic particles, or paramanu. The self, Atman, however, is one totality. It is the same throughout. The self has no parts, such as atoms or subatomic particles. All atoms and particles are perishable. They perish, yet the Supreme Self, Param Atman, is one and cannot be destroyed. It is a unitary whole. Fire can enter all things, and therefore it can burn. Wind or air is also capable of entering things. These elements are porous, but the self is spread out evenly everywhere, creating hundreds of skies, all space. By its consciousness and capacity to know, the self creates dreams. It creates space, and within the space, it creates the world. Wherever there is space, the self creates the world. Where there is the sense of knowing, the world is created. The eyes have water in them, yet they do not constantly ooze. If one understands that the self is everywhere and becomes one with it, he becomes the Supreme Self, Param Atman. I am in the donkey, but I am not the donkey. One who understands that he is in everything obtains the power of omnipresence. Whatever number of species may be there, life as such is only one. The self is the same in all creatures. Nature, the entirety of creation, is the same for all. If all wished to destroy it, then it would perish. However, one can remain aloof from creation. But this is only possible if he has full realization that the world is illusion and is fully aware. The world is seen with the eye of illusion. The self is without that eye. It only sees itself. The world is as you see it. If the mind thinks that it is false or true, or that someone is a thief, it takes that form. Experience depends upon your concepts. The bedbug does not bite a corpse for feeding. Every creature has his own world. If you call it real, it is real. If you call it false, It is false. There is no sin or merit in the world. What is a woman to you before your marriage with her? She is nobody. You call her your wife, and therefore she became your wife. Otherwise, what relationship does she have with you? You are responsible for creating the world around you. What a man says becomes a source of bondage for him. What you have said has become your restraint. You are bound by your desires. That is the nature of the world created by you. If you say that all is false, you are freed. You are bound only by your own concepts. So free yourself from them. You must reflect deeply and correctly. Everything is dynamic, and the self dwells in every form. The self is common to all the 5 elements, and that is one's real being, which is very vast. The sun is millions of miles away from the earth. It is also by size many times larger, but it is seen from earth as a small ball. We see it as appearing to be very small. It would take years of traveling to see it up close. From this example, you can imagine how vast and great you yourself are. The self is very vast. Sound and light are created at the same time, but they travel at different speeds, so you see the light first, and then hear the sound afterwards. However, the self, Atman, is so vast that as soon as you open your eyes, it does not take more than an instant to see the sun. While to see the sun up close in its actual size would require many years of travel. In a dream with a duration of only 15 minutes, you can experience a lapse of millions of years. However far away a dream world may be located, the self is at its own place. The self is so vast, it contains all of the dream world and the waking world within it. Atman is endless and limitless. This means that it really has no end or limit. The Mahat principle is the self that knows Maya. Awareness of awareness. The self is more vast than all of illusion. It looks out in all directions at once as soon as you open your eyes. When you say that you are that self, you automatically become vast. The self is the vastest of all, but the body does not become vast upon the realization of the self. because the body is false. When a villager goes to live in a city, he identifies with the big city. Then he does not say that he is from the village. He becomes someone bigger. He no longer says that he belongs to the village. A single thread of cotton is very weak. But if it is united with other threads, it becomes very strong. Likewise, if you become separate, you become weak. So be vast in oneness. If a grain of salt goes to meet the sea, what happens? It is merged into the sea. It becomes the sea. You do service to your body and forget to serve the self. It is what you give to the man of self-knowledge, the jnani, that is truly what God receives. The cat that is your body is eating what belongs to the self. It does not reach up to the self. When you bow before the man of self-knowledge, it is like bowing before yourself. You are living the family life because you want pleasure. You are not doing it for your wife and children. But when you worship the man of self-knowledge, you are doing that for your own upliftment. The one who understands these things obtains the power of omnipresence and becomes omnipresent, all-pervading.